Greek mythology across civilizations, a night history. Close your eyes and imagine the sound of waves touching the shores of the Aegean Sea. Thousands of years ago, the people of Greece told stories beneath the stars. They spoke of gods who lived on Mount Olympus, of heroes who carried both strength and sorrow, and of destinies shaped by the threads of fate. These stories, which we now call Greek mythology, traveled farther than the land of Greece itself. They were carried by sailors, by merchants, by philosophers, and by poets. And as they journeyed, other civilizations began to see their own reflections inside the Greek tales. Egypt, the Nile, and the Aegean. When Greek travelers sailed to the land of the Nile, they encountered temples older than their own myths. Yet, instead of finding a foreign world, they found familiar echoes. The Greeks looked at Amun-Ra, the sun god, and thought of Zeus, lord of the skies. They saw Thoth, keeper of wisdom and writing, and felt a kinship with Hermes, the swift messenger. Even Neith, the goddess of war and creation, reminded them of their own Athena, who stood for wisdom and battle. It was as if the two civilizations, separated by deserts and seas, were listening to the same cosmic story, told in different languages. Rome, the heirs of Olympus. The Romans did not simply admire Greek mythology, they absorbed it. To them, Greek stories carried truth, but Rome gave them a new form. Zeus became Jupiter, the guardian of the Roman state. Hera became Juno, watching over family and marriage. Aphrodite became Venus, inspiring love and beauty. Yet the Romans did more than rename the gods. They reshaped their roles to fit the needs of empire and law. In Greece, myths were stories of wonder. In Rome, they became guides for civic life, reminders that gods stood beside soldiers, senators, and citizens. Through Rome, Greek mythology became eternal, spreading across Europe and into the very roots of Western culture. Persia, the heroes of two worlds. Farther east, in the great Persian Empire, stories of cosmic struggle were at the heart of their beliefs. Persians spoke of the eternal battle between light and darkness, truth and falsehood. When they heard of Greek heroes like Herakles who fought lions, serpents, and giants, they thought of their own legendary champion Rostam, who faced demons and dragons. Though the names were different, the message was the same. The world is a place of trial, and heroes exist to protect balance against chaos. Greek myths, to the Persians, were not foreign fantasies, but part of a universal language of courage and destiny. Later Europe, rediscovering the old myths. Centuries passed. Empires fell, yet the myths of Greece remained. In medieval Europe, they were remembered through fragile manuscripts, often interpreted through the lens of Christianity. Prometheus, punished for stealing fire, was seen as a symbol of pride and defiance, but also of human striving. Orpheus, the musician who sought to rescue his love from the underworld, was cherished as a symbol of faith, art, and eternal love. Then came the Renaissance. Artists, poets, and philosophers opened the pages of Greek myth as if rediscovering a treasure chest. For them, the myths were not just stories of gods and monsters, but lessons about the human spirit, about ambition, about beauty, and about the search for meaning, a universal story. From Egypt to Rome, from Persia to Renaissance Europe, Greek mythology was never just the possession of Greece alone. It became a mirror. Each civilization looked at the myths and saw a reflection of itself. To the Egyptians, they were echoes of the gods of the Nile. To the Romans, they were guides for empire. To the Persians, they were heroes battling chaos. And to later Europeans, they were symbols of art, wisdom, and the soul's long journey. A gentle ending. Now, as you prepare for sleep, think of these myths not as distant tales, but as timeless whispers. The gods of Olympus, the heroes of Greece, and the echoes across civilizations are like stars in the night sky. Each culture gazed upward, and though they gave the constellations different names, they were all looking at the same light. So rest now, knowing that the stories of the past are never lost. They are carried forward, culture to culture, age to age, like the steady rhythm of waves against the shore. And as you drift into dreams, imagine yourself walking among the ancient ruins. The voices of history soft around you, reminding you that myths are eternal. And so too is the human longing to tell stories beneath the stars.